Sir, the slides are visible?
Visible.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. I hope all you are having a wonderful learning experience in this AICTE sponsored ATAL FDP program. As we move forward with a thrill to present technical session 5, which it focuses on exciting and rapidly evolving topic, custom medical devices. This session promises to offer insight into the innovative interaction of technology and healthcare, revolutionizing the design and functionality of medical devices. To lead us through this engaging session, we are privileged to have with us Dr. Sandeep Dahake, a trailblazer in the field of biomedical research and 3D printing. Before starting the presentation of our guest, I would like to introduce him. Dr. Sandeep Dahake is a CEO and founder of GHRCE Private Limited, which is incubated at Center of Innovation at Vishweshwarya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. He has completed his mechanical engineering and MTech in CAD/CAM from Rashtrasan Tuklogji Maharaj Nagpur University and completed PhD and postdoctorate from VNIT Nagpur with a specializing in biomedical and rapid prototyping. Sir has a professional experience of over 13 plus years in biomedical research. He has an expertise in CAD/CAM, 3D printing, 3D scanning, custom medical devices, and product design and development. Sir has a very high achievements and contribution. He has published 15 SCI index paper, 2 Scopus papers in reputed international and national journal. Sir has got 6 national patent granted and 1 international patent filed. He has contributed as a book chapter in the field of biomedical and rapid prototyping. Apart from this, Sir had received a major grants and awards. Number 1, Birac Breed Grant in 2019 with an amount of 50 lakh from Department of Biotechnology. Second one, Mimic Innovation Award in 2020 with an amount of 1000 euro from Metralise, Belgium. Number 3, New Gene IEDC grant in 2021 with an amount of 2.5 lakh from Department of Science and Technology. 4, Nidhi Prayas grant in 2022 with an amount of 10 lakh from SIGN, Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. 5, TDVC grant in the year 2022 with an amount of 89 lakh from NRDC and DST. We are truly fortunate to have a visionary like Dr. Dahake and to share his sight and inspiring with us his journey in developing the custom medical devices. Sir, over to you. Sir, please share your slide.
Okay, thank you, sir, for this introduction. Am I audible? And am I audible?
You are audible. Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, good evening to all of you.
Your contents
Yes.
are not shared. You have to share the screen, Sandeep. You don't share the content. Stop sharing now and
Okay.
share the screen. Yes, yes, yes. Now it is visible. And open your presentation.
Okay. Now is it visible?
Yes, yes. Yes,
Yeah,
just
so,
hide
okay,
that
so,
which is seen. Just hide this GHRCE.webex.com. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
yes. Okay. So, good evening to all of you. I am Dr. Sandeep Dahake. Presently, I am a CEO and founder of GHRCE Private Limited, and my company is incubated in the Center of Innovation at Vishweshwarya National Institute. And today, I am discussing the important topic in the biomedical field, that is custom medical devices. Under this title, I will be explaining what are the applications of CAD/CAM technology and mostly related to the mimics and thematic software. How wonderfully we can use softwares like mimics in the domain of medical. Plus the applications of rapid prototyping, how these are used in the custom medical devices. I will be focused mostly on the one device, that is customized surgical guides, but in variety of the service. And then again, production services available at the Precision Private Limited, which are related to the custom medical devices. So whenever we talk about the custom medical devices, the whole process has been divided into the 4 major categories. And that categories are, first one is the scanning. Whenever we talk about the customization, so it requires some data, some reference data, some raw data. How we can taking this particular raw data to development of this particular devices, whether it is medical implants, customized medical implants, or customized surgical guides for whatever the surgery. The very first step is the scanning. The second step is the CAD, that is the actual computer aided design. Nowadays, variety of softwares are available for the designing of different types of devices or the products. But in the medical sciences or in the biomedical sciences, our requirement is to design on the object or the anatomy or available in different formats like STL format, or the raw data is available into the DICOM format. So for these purposes, some specialized softwares are required. Another next step is the additive manufacturing. In the additive manufacturing, because of the intricate shape, we cannot manufacture this type of parts by using the any conventional machining like conventional machining or the casting method. So because of that, we have to use the 3D printing. Now we are talking about the customization, but with the different materials. That material may be plastic one or metallic one. But additive manufacturing having a capability to develop your product, not even nowadays we are dealing in a biomedical, so there required some biocompatible material. That can also be possible by using the 3D printing. And the next step is the surgery. Once you have done with this final product by using the additive manufacturing, you can use these products into actual surgery. So we will see this in much detail. In the case of scanning, the raw data may be available in the format of the technique like CT scan, CBCT scan, MRI scan, PET CT scan. So these are the raw data. Sometimes we can take that scanning data by using our industrial scanner, dental scanner. So these are the different ways by using we can collect the raw data. Very important thing is that all the data are available in the DICOM format. All the data are available in the DICOM format, that is digital image communication in medicine. This is the name of the format. This data available in the form of slices, the number of slices. So what we have to do? We cannot directly use this data for the development of any device or any further surgical guides. The first step is that we have to com data into a different format so that we can use it for a designing purposes. So spatially, we can convert this DICOM data into a SQL format. That is step number 2. Once we get a scan data, then the next step is the CAD, that is computer aided design. We have to convert that DICOM data into a STL1. The process is called image processing. We have to convert the DICOM data by using different tools available in the mimic software like selecting a particular bone or soft tissue.
sorry interrupting you. Because some voice are lagging, you can off your video so that the connection will be okay. क्योंकि sometimes वीडियो ऑन रहा तो वो साउंड में लैगिंग हो रहा है ना? तो आप वीडियो आपका ऑफ करके दो तो ये साउंड जो है लैगिंग आपकी वॉइस वो क्लियर आ जाएगी.
Okay, sir.
हाँ, जस्ट वीडियो आप वीडियो मीन्स आपका हाँ यस एंड नाउ यू प्रेजेंट दो द साउंड विल बी वेरी क्लियर.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
हाँ.
after scanning, the next step is the CAD, that is computer aided design. By using different softwares, we can perform this step. But the major step is that we have to convert that scan data into some compatible data, and in mostly the STL files are useful by designing the particular custom devices, that is customized implant or customized surgical guides. The first step is the image processing. Basically, the Mimix is a very popular software. Not only the Mimix, there are a number of softwares like D2P, that is DICOM to print. These are the different than anybody. These are the different softwares available to convert your data from DICOM to the STL. The best thing of the Mimix is that you can select your particular part. Suppose you have taken a CT scan of your particular hand and you are interested to design something on the bone of the hand. So you can segment it. Segment it means you have to separate particular bone from the entire bundle of the soft tissues and hard tissues. So that can be possible in the Mimix software. Once you got this particular data, then very easily you can design anything on this particular bone or selected portion. The next step is the virtual surgical planning in the CAD portion. Here you have to decide, as per the surgeon's input, you have to decide what type of implant you are going to design, what is the dimension, what will be the shape, where to give the screw locations, where to you have to perform some holes to reduce the weight of the particular implant. What will be the surgical, if you are designing some custom surgical guide, then what will be the surgical margin, the length of particular device, then any fixation part, fixation plate regarding to this surgical guide. This all data you have to design in a virtual surgical plan. After Mimix, for that you require some specialized software like Thematic. Thematic is a biocompatible software, biomedical software, where very easily you can edit your STL file. So all the data related which we got from the doctor as related to the surgery, that can be incorporated into the virtual surgery. So previously this type of many softwares are available in the market for designing of this type of particular surgery. But the major problem is how to transfer this data from software to the actual surgery. That is the major problem. You are very good, very expert in designing of this type of particular devices like surgical implant. You can very smart to design particular surgery on a computer. But the problem is that how to transfer this virtual surgical plan into the actual surgery. For that, the custom surgical guides are useful. These custom surgical guides are useful. These custom surgical guides are designed in such a way that all the plan, whatever the plan you perform in virtual surgical planning, that has been incorporated into a custom surgical guide, and that custom surgical guide after 3D printed, you can use into the surgery. Now, at the time of surgery, surgeon need not have to take any measurement or any other particular changes. Whatever his plan, which has already incorporated into the software, and that software has, with this virtual surgical planning, he can design this type of customized surgical guide, and he can transfer this particular plan into the actual surgery. With this virtual surgical planning, not only on the particular customized surgical guides, but at the same time, he has to design a customized implant also. Otherwise, if two different persons are designing this customized surgical guide and customized implant, there may be probability to change the dimension. So with the surgeon's input, at the same time, surgical guide as well as the surgical implant has to be designed. And for this, the software like Thematic plays a very vital role. The next step is the finite element analysis that can also be performed in the materialized software or by using any generalized software like ANSYS. That is another step to check the whether whatever the implant you have designed that is safe or not, all the locations of the screw are on the proper location or not, then the thickness of the plate is proper or not, where the maximum stresses are rising, that can be checked by using the finite element analysis. That is the particular portion in the CAD section. Once you have done with the CAD, then the next step is that the additive manufacturing. Whatever you have designed, that you have to save into a STL format, because additive manufacturing required STL data only. So if you are developing a customized implant, in the case of customized implant, you must have to print your implant by using any metal 3D printer. And the materials, biocompatible materials are available for metal 3D printers are like SS316Cl material, then cobalt chromium material, titanium alloy, and nowadays some plastic polymer also available like PIC polyether ketone. This material also available. For the customized surgical guide, there are different biocompatible material available. So this is the very important technology, because this type of complicated parts you cannot be print or develop or manufacture by using any conventional technology like casting or machining. So because of that, for development of custom surgical guides and customized implant, additive manufacturing plays very vital role. The next step is the mock surgery. In the mock surgery, whatever you have developed, that can be tested in the lab before actual surgery. Once it is done, the final devices after surgeon's consent, you can use into the surgery. So these are the broadly described, this figure broadly describe the whole process, that is from starting to the end. And these four parts, scanning, CAD, additive manufacturing and surgery, these are the major parts for development of any type of customized medical device. That may be customized implant or customized surgical guide. I will focus most on the customized surgical guides in variety of complex surgeries. So what is customized surgical guide? The basically customized surgical guide is nothing but the jig. It is just like a jig which are used full in our mechanical environment or mechanical industries. What is the purpose of jig? To guide the tool. The tool may be drilling guide or the cutting guide. We are using this jig into the surgery, because of that we are calling it as a surgical guide. This is nothing but the jig. We are using it into the surgery, because of that we are calling it as a surgical jig. Again, we are developing it a customized or patient specific, because of that it is called as a customized surgical guide. So mostly these customized surgical guides are broadly divided into three categories. One is the drilling guide. So drilling guides are useful for the accurate drilling, mostly in the dental sites. Then next is the cutting guide. The cutting guides are useful for the accurately cutting of the bones. And next one is the positioning guide. The positioning guide, the use of positioning guide is that to properly arrange the resected bone at the planned location. So these are the three types of cutting guide. Even though the purpose of these three guides are different, but two common things are there. One is the base surface. Base surface is that surface which is useful to place this surgical guide on the particular location on the particular bone. That is called base surface. and another one is best surface is nothing but the bottom surface. By using this surface, we can fit this particular device at the plant location. Another thing is that this guiding surface or guiding portion. This guiding portion are used to properly guide the tool. If you are using a drilling tool, then this guiding portion is for the drilling purposes. And if it is for the cutting tool like saw, cutting saw, then this is the cutting portion. So these are the two most important portion in the custom surgical guide, that is base surface and the guiding surface. These are common in all types of custom surgical guides. So based on the location, requirement, then surface available for the surgery, the shape and the size of the custom surgical guides are changes. You can see these are the surgical guides which are prominently used into the dentistry. So upper two diagrams are for the mandible drilling in the case of drilling into the mandible, and the lower three diagrams are for the maxillary portion. So all are the drilling guides, but their tasks are different. One is for the lower portion, that is for the mandibular, and the upper portion, lower portion is lower design is for the maxillary side. The purpose is for to accurate performing the drilling operation. So as per the virtual surgical plan, decided by the surgeon, we can transfer this surgical plan into the actual surgery. In the case of dentistry, it is for the implant fixation. It is for the implant fixation in mandibular side and the maxillary side. Now you can see in the lower figure some metallic portion is also available in the surgical guide, that are nothing but the metallic sleeves. We cannot develop this type of parts directly by using any printer. So in that case, you have to first print this plastic part by using any printer, maybe biocompatible plastic part, and afterwards, as per the plan of the surgeon, as per the diameter he has selected for the particular drill, you can fix this type of metallic sleeve into the plastic part, and you can develop this type of surgical guides for the surgery. Another very important, you can see whatever the devices I am showing, these are all custom surgical guides, but the purpose and the application are different in different surgery. This is the another type of surgical guide. This is the combination of two guides. One is called as the cutting guide and another is the so this is the combination of the guide, which is for the one is for the cutting particular portion and another for is the drilling. So why drilling is required? This particular metallic part is called as the C-tube mini plate, which are basically useful in the orthodontic treatment. Orthodontic treatment means जिनका दांत आगे पीछे होते हैं, for adjustment of this particular tooth or teeth or fixation of the braces onto the teeth, this type of C-type mini plates have to be placed in the orthodontic treatment. So you can see the usefulness of this particular surgical guide. How to fix this C-tube mini plate exactly onto the proper particular portion inside the mouth. So here is the arrangement. You can see this particular portion, whether my pointer is visible in the slide.
Yes.
So this is, yeah, so this is the particular portion. This is called the base surface. So just by snugly fitting it onto the particular tooth, we can fit this device on the plant location. So this is the base surface, and by using this base surface, we can fit this particular device onto the particular teeth. The arrangement of fixation of C-tube mini plate is provided inside this particular surgical guide. So we can rotate it as per the requirement. So you can see in the diagram in my, I'm showing this particular figure. So you can see first fix this particular device along with this particular C plate, rotate it to downwards, then this cutting slot is provided over there. Surgeon can perform the cut as per the plan. Then just cut this particular plastic portion, cutting portion, and then again rotate this particular C pin. So it will come as per the planned location. And after performing a drilling using the same drill hole, he can fix this particular C plate as per the plan inside the mucosa onto the particular bone and as per the plan. So without using this type of surgical guide, it is very difficult to fix this type of particular plate at the planned location. So to perform the surgery accurate, to perform to fix this particular plate and the planned location as per the virtual surgical plan, this type of custom surgical guide plays very vital role, which increases the accuracy of the surgery as well as reduces the surgical time. Another very common example of custom surgical guide is the cutting guide, that is customized surgical cutting guide. These are very popular surgeries in the countries or in the developing countries like India, where we can find the cases of mandibular tumor because of the consumption of tobacco. This type of cases are available in tremendous quantity in the countries or in the developing countries like India. So this is the case of mandibular tumor, and the device which is required to cut this particular tumorous portion or cancerous portion accurately, so that customized implant, whatever you have designed at the time of virtual surgical planning, at the planned location, this type of particular cutting guides are required. The basic use of these guides is accurate cutting so that customized implant can be properly fit at the planned location. So you can see these are the plan upper two figures, and this is the customized surgical guide for the accurate mandible cutting. Here, instead of using custom medical metallic implant, they are preferring the fibula bone. This is the particular device for cutting the fibula bone. They are fixing the particular fibula graft over there. This is the gold standard method. Instead of using the metallic implant, they are using the fibula bone of the same person for this surgery. And this is the again very important thing is that the fibula bone is a straight bone and mandible is a U-shaped bone. In that case particularly, the surgeon has to cut this straight bone in a number of pieces and align it as per the requirement of the mandible. So this is a very complex surgery, and in that particular complex surgery, this type of custom surgical guide plays very vital role. This is another very good surgery in the craniomaxillofacial surgery. Here you can see the required cut is from the maxillary side, from the upper portion of the maxilla. The surgery is called as lip hole 1 osteotomy. You have seen many people, those having a improper or asymmetric portion, maxillary portion, उनका maxilla mandible के आगे होता है. So because of that, they cannot properly perform a chewing operation. That mandible and maxilla not properly aligning to each other, so they face a problem regarding the chewing and biting. In that case, surgeon has to cut this particular bone, upper portion of the maxilla, and align it properly so that they can perform proper chewing or biting action. So the surgery is called as the lip hole 1 osteotomy. In that case, accurate cutting is very important. So this type of surgical guide, this is again an example of custom surgical cutting guide for accurate cutting of this maxillary portion. Nowadays, people are developing these types of guide by customized guide also by using metal 3D printer. Why it is so? Because of the strength of the material. They can many times while cutting the particular portion, this plastic based guide may cut and hamper the surgery. To avoid that, many times this type of metallic customized surgical guides are also useful nowadays. But the problem is that the cost of the metallic guides or metallic object by using metal 3D printer is very high, and patients cannot afford this type of devices, metallic devices into the surgery. Another very important surgery is that where this type of custom surgical guide plays very important role, like mandibular distraction osteogenesis. Osteogenesis means the formation of the new bone, and distraction means cutting and improving the length of the bone by using the distraction means separation. Okay, so mandibular distraction osteogenesis, in that particular surgery you can see that one device is fixed over there on the mandible. This device you have to fix from both the side of the mandible and perform the cut. That cut should be symmetric one, and daily surgeon rotating this particular nut and increase the length. In the period of one day, the new bone formation may takes place. This can, and he continuously increasing the length as per his requirement. Suppose he required a 20 mm or 20 mm increase of the bone, so he may twist this particular nut 20 times. So 20 day require. Daily 1 mm bone formation may takes place. So for this particular surgery, the fixation of this particular device called as distractor has to be fit exactly on the planned location. Otherwise, in the final result, the symmetric distraction will not be obtained. So in that particular case, this type of customized surgical cutting guides are required. By using this, we can fix this particular distractor onto the planned location and perform the symmetric cutting so that distraction may be accurate. This is another, again, different types, different design of the customized surgical guide which are useful into the surgery. This is again a CMF surgery, that is craniomaxillofacial surgery. In the first figure, you can see that the device is capable to require only one cut, because he has taken a cutting portion or cancerous portion. He has to remove particular complete cancer portion from one side. So in that case, a single cutting guide is required. Surgeon has to perform only one cut. Because of that, the design of surgical guide has changed. In the second figure, you can see here he has to cut the middle portion. So he has provided two cutting planes for the cutting of this particular bone. So as per the requirement, the design of the surgical guides can change. And the next one is the positioning guide, which are useful for accurate fixation of the resected bone on the planned location. Another very important surgery is the orthognathic surgery or the genioplasty. We having a very good genioplasty center at Government Dental College and Hospital. This surgery is required for the adjustment of the thin portion. This thin portion for enlargement or shortening of this particular thin portion, the surgery required called as genioplasty or orthognathic surgery. In that particular surgery, surgeon has to cut this particular chin and adjust it as per the symmetry or as per the requirement of the patient. So in that case, this type of custom surgical guides are useful. So again, here is the role of this mimics, thematic, and the additive manufacturing for development of this type of surgical guides. This is the another type of surgical guide. Instead of cutting, if required a splitting, so this type of surgical guides are useful. You can see there is a provision, and instead of using a cutting saw, here they use a chisel and hammer for the separation of particular bone. for separation of particular bone by splitting the bone, not the cutting. So in that case, this type of design can be possible for the development of customized surgical guide. Here, the provision is available to fix the hammer, to fix the chisel and apply the hammer. Okay. So in this case, this type of sagittal split osteotomy, this type of surgical guides are useful for the separation of the bone. Another very famous surgery which we have already discussed in previous slide, that is fibula free flap surgery in the case of mandibular tumor cutting. Instead of using metallic implant here, in some surgeries or in some cases, surgeon use a fibula bone which is available in our leg. So fibula bone is a straight bone, and how to cut this particular straight bone in a number of pieces so that a proper symmetry can be obtained or proper alignment of the mandible can be obtained. In that particular requirement, this type of particular fibula cutting guides are useful. The procedure for development of this type of all the surgery guides, customized surgical guides are same. Every surgical guide development required raw data, that is the DICOM file, then image processing, then designing and additive manufacturing. These are common for all the custom development of customized surgical guide. This is another surgery, that is the total hip arthroplasty in the case of placement of particular pin or passing the pin particularly from the neck portion of the femur. In that particular case also, this type of drilling guide, this is the example of drilling guide. This type of drilling guides are useful in the hip arthroplasty. Again, this one is the acetabular. In the case of acetabulum for performing a particular hole from the exactly from the plant location, this type of particular drilling guide for acetabulum are useful. You can see this is the application is same, but the design is different. This is the combination of two particular things. One is that it is for the drilling guide and the cutting guide. You can see this particular device is useful for accurately transfer this pin from the neck portion. So this is playing a role of drilling guide, as well as from the bottom portion or bottom plane of this particular guide, the surgeon can cut this particular wall portion from the neck. So this is the combination of two guides, that is the drilling guide as well as the cutting guide. Again, you can see this is the particular cutting guide which are useful for cutting of the femur bone. And this one is for the acetabulum, for cutting surgical guide, drilling guide for the performing a hole in the acetabulum. So every time designing and application is changing as per the requirement. You can see another example for cutting of the acetabular tumor resection. In that case, surgeon has designed or engineer has designed the different type of surgical guide for cutting this particular wall section of this particular acetabular. Okay, so here he has used 3 different guides, because even so as per the requirement surgeon can change the design also, but the basic purpose is that the transfer of this virtual surgical plan into the actual surgery. So this is the example of cutting guide used in the acetabular tumor resection. This is the another example which are useful in the knee arthroplasty, cutting of the knee portion. Here the surgical guide has been designed for the cutting of this particular tumorous part in the knee bone. So after virtual surgical plan, designing of the particular guide and then performing the cutting, which are useful in the knee arthroplasty. Again, in the knee arthroplasty, if you fixing the particular knee implant, so there are 2 parts required for fixation of the knee implant. one is for the upper portion and one is for the lower portion. So accurate cutting of these two bone, that is the femur bone and the tibia bone, is required in that particular joint. So cutting is very important there, so that external object that or external implant can be properly fit and perform this particular implant action at the knee portion. So accurate cutting is required there. So this type of surgical guides are useful in the knee arthroplasty. This is again another example of knee arthroplasty, where for fixation of the implant, to where to fix this particular implant. So in that case, accurate drilling is important, and on that particular hole, this particular knee implant has to fix. So for this particular portion, for accurate performing this drill or performing the hole, this type of drilling guides are useful in the knee surgery. Another very important and interesting surgery is the scoliosis. In the case of scoliosis, scoliosis means ये जो आप देख रहे हो, ये जो bent portion of the vertebral column, that is called scoliosis. In that particular surgery, surgeon क्या करते हैं कि they use some wires, and that wire has to be passed from this vertebrate. That wire has to pass from this vertebrate. So in that particular surgery, surgeon has to first fix the nails into this particular vertebrate. And the problem is that we can see very clearly in next question. Okay, in this figure it is properly visible. You can see surgeon has to pass this particular nails from this vertebrate. The problem is that that particular nails need not have to touch to the spinal cord, because spinal cord has been passing from this particular hole to the vertebral column. And surgery is complex because there is a, while inserting this particular nail into the pedicle section is a small neck like portion. So surgeon has to pass this particular nail from this small portion, neck like portion, that is called pedicle. While passing this particular nail, there may be high chance to stuck this particular or touches this particular nail to the spinal cord. If this happens, then there may be chances of the anything. The patient may die because of this. So in that particular case, this nail has to be passed very accurately from this small portion of the pedicle. And in that case, this type of surgical guides plays a very vital role in the case of pedicle screw insertion in the cases of scoliosis. These are again the very fine example of a drilling guide. Another very important example is the corrective osteotomy. Corrective osteotomy is nothing but the cutting of the bone as per the requirement. That may be required in the cases of the fracture or in the cases of the tumorous or cancerous cases where accurate cutting is required. So in that cases also, this type of plate-like structure or plate-like surgical guides are useful for accurate cutting of the particular portion. This is again another example, that is the bone tumor resection. Again, similar type, but the design of surgical guide is different. So for accurate cutting of the tumorous portion, and whatever the portion has been removed, something has to fit in that particular empty portion. So that is called graft. So for development of this type of graft or allograft, allo means other, किसी पर्सन ने डोनेट किया है, किसी डोनर का पर्टिकुलर बोन है. So to cut this particular bone accurately as per the requirement, this type of surgical guides are useful. You can see the difference between when we use accurate, when we use the surgical guide for the cutting. You can see in this figure, even though surgeon has perform a cut very accurately inline, but you can see the difference between when we use a manual cutting and by using the custom surgical guide. So that is the advantage of this surgical guide. and mostly you can see this surgery happens, that is called as the orthopedic oncology, that is cutting off the cancerous portion from the bone. This is another example of the orthopedic oncology, where for accurate cutting of the bone and fixation of this particular portion, they use this type of surgical guide. This is again an example of cutting guide for accurate cutting of the particular bone and accurate fixation of this type of graft at the particular portion. So this type of cutting guides are useful. In the case of orbital implant placement, this is the example of drilling guide. The portion of the eye orbit, in that particular portion for fixation of this type of implants, for fixation of this type of implant, here the bone is very thin and very delicate. In this particular portion, this type of surgical guides can be used for fixation of this metallic implant. So this is again example of the drilling guide used in the orbital surgery. This is another example of the custom surgical guide. Here, for the adjustment of this twisted bone in the metatarsal and phalangeal bone, to adjust these fingers, twisted finger, they have using this type of drilling guide. So for accurate drilling and the twisting by using this metallic pin, this type of surgical drilling guides are useful into the surgery. Another very fine example is the neurosurgery. For stimulating of the brain in the neurosurgery, this type of surgical guides are also useful. These are some raw designs of surgical guides, but the purpose is the same. Here you can see the mask-like structure. This is the reference portion or the base portion for the fixation of this particular device. Then some arm-like structure, the needle-like structure they have provided. And by using this needle holder, they can insert the needle from the upper portion of the head and directly passes up to the brain to stimulate the brain. So this is one raw figure, and this one is the fine diagram of this custom surgical guide. The design is quite compact and can be useful into the surgery. The purpose is same. Here they have taken the particular base surface for fixation of this type of guide, and here the one particular drilling type of or fixation of this particular needle holder is provided. By using this needle holder, they can pass this needle exactly where they required into the brain. And this type of surgical guides are also useful into the surgery. This is the fine example of neurosurgery, and in the first portion you can see this is the image of virtual surgical planning, where surgeon and engineer has to decide where to fix this particular leg of this particular device, from where to pass the needle, where will be the target, what is the trajectory. That all plan has to be incorporated in the thematic software or any biocompatible designing software while designing this particular type of surgical guides, which are useful into the surgery. And after that, after printing it by using 3D printer, we can easily use it into the surgery. So I have shown you different examples of the customized surgical guide. The design of this particular surgical guides are different, but the applications of these surgical guides are again different. But one thing is very common, all are useful for the maybe for drilling purposes or cutting purposes or positioning purposes. So what is the advantage of this particular guides are all are helps to improve the accuracy of the surgery. They are useful for decrease the time which is actually required for the surgery. Again, the very important thing is the all guides are helps to simplify the surgery, because at the time of surgery, taking the dimension, performing the cut, handling the all bloods and saliva are very complex. So in that particular case, direct fixation of this surgical guide and use to perform a drill or to perform the cut are very uh, are useful to simplify the surgery, decrease the surgery time, and improve the accuracy of the surgery. Also, it helps to improve the confidence of the surgeon. Also, it it reduces the total operating time, and the most important, very important, the surgical guides are helpful to transfer the virtual surgical plan into the actual surgery. So these are the advantages of this custom surgical guides. As far as the custom medical devices, this another products are anatomical models. These anatomical models are useful for box surgeries. Box surgery means the performance of the surgery before the actual surgery on the 3D printed model. So for that, anatomical models are required. Then virtual surgical planning. In virtual surgical planning, surgeon has to decide where to perform the cut, where to fix the pin, where to perform the drill, where to fix the design, what will be the size and design of the customized implant or customized surgical guide. That all can be possible in the softwares like Mimix and Thematic. So that particular portion, that is virtual surgical plan, is very important before the actual designing of the customized implant or customized surgical guides. These are the customized surgical guides for the various surgeries. These all facilities are available in our Research Private Limited. That customized implant for various purposes like cranial implants, then mandibular implant, metatarsomphalangeal implant, then ear caps. These are the different customized medical devices or customized medical implants. Then finite element analysis on anatomical models. This can be possible in the Mimix software by using the Mimix software. Another very interesting thing is that I have told you all the advantages of custom surgical guides. But in the case of plastic-based custom surgical guides, there may be chances of cutting of this particular surgical guides while performing the cut because of the plastic material. The strength of this plastic materials are low. So we have developed this different device. This is called as adjustable surgical osteotomy guide. This is different from this custom surgical guide. We are developing this guide for accurate resection of the mandible, and we are developing this guide by using a metal. We are developing this in SS304L material. Because of the adjustable nature, the same device can be useful for any particular mandible for cutting purposes. The advantage is that we can save the cost of this custom surgical guide. Otherwise, in every surgery, we have to design and develop this custom surgical guide separately for each patient. So that can be avoided by using this type of adjustable metallic surgical guide. So this particular guide is for the mandible cutting, and we got a particular Byrax 50 lakh rupees grant for this particular device. Its version 2 is for the not only for the cutting of the mandible, but also performing of the fibula graft. So this same device is useful for mandible cutting as well as the preparation of the fibula graft. And for this particular device, this is the again in metallic one, we got NRDC's grant of around 90 lakh rupees. Other facilities available, we having a different 3D printing facilities. In that, from the consumer grade material like ABS and PLA to the high performance material like PIC, polyether ether ketone can be printed by using our 3D printing. Then different 3D printing in a biocompatible material for dental purposes that can be possible in our lab. Then 3D scanning, reverse engineering is possible. And this is my address. Thank you. If you having any question, you can ask me. Any question?
Thank you so much, Dr. Dahake sir, for such an enlightening session. Your in-depth knowledge and innovation approach have truly inspired us and broadened our perspective on how custom medical devices are transforming healthcare. Now, we would like to open the floor for questions. If anyone has queries or would like to dive deeper into any aspect of the session, please feel free to raise your hand or type into the chat box.
Yeah,
Just
there is
yeah.
one
What
question
are
from
the
my
common?
side itself. Yeah.
Yeah. First
Yeah.
question from Guru Raj. What are the
Yeah.
commonly used polymer materials other than PEEK?
Basically, PEEK materials are used for the implant purposes, not for the surgical guides. Okay, so the portion, or we can say the non-load bearing portion, like cranial, we can develop a cranial plates by using the PEEK material. Okay, so polymers are useful in the or used as an implantable material where the non-load bearing area is available, just like a cranial. Other than PEEK material, implantable materials are nowadays many different materials. In the case of dentistry, different biocompatible materials are available, but that are for the temporary use, not for the permanent use. But PEEK material which can be used permanently into the body.
Yeah. Another question from Mr. Anil Vanalkar. What is scope of FEA on anatomical models?
Sir, previously people are only using the ANSYS software finite element analysis in the engineering domain. But in the case of medical, where complex geometries are available, complex bones, and we are using again the DICOM files and STL files. In that case, in mimics, there are different tools are available for giving boundary conditions, then material assignment. So for this particular medical objects, that mimics plays a vital role. And your question is that what are the what was the question? Scope of the FA in the anatomical model. So you can perform any anatomic finite element analysis on particular design. Suppose you have developed some implant for particular surgery. So before actual development of this implant, you can perform the finite element analysis. And that is possible in all types of implant in each surgery. This is the basically this is the actual procedure. Before actual manufacturing of the implant, they have to perform some tests. So in that case, this finite element analysis plays a wonderful important role. Anything related to finite element analysis? Okay. Any other questions, sir?
Am I audible, Sandeep sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How we get mimic for free used? I think the answer is it's not possible. It's
So
a paid.
mimics is not possible, but there are different types of software which are just like a mimics are available, like mesh mixer, and some other softwares are also available. You can Google it. These are equivalent to the mimics. You can convert this DICOM into the STL, then segmentation is also possible. by using this software, like mixer, one is the mesh mixer.
What parameters you are finding using FEA? No. Okay, this was over. Okay. Then such a question by Sachin Bangar. Does actual testing done like dynamic load testing? Because due to porosity, part may get failed due to fatigue.
Yes, in many cases, this type of actual testing is also required before the actual surgery of the implant. But many times it is not possible. Every time it is not possible to perform the dynamic testing because of the high costing of this metal printing. It is not every time possible. But uh, in that particular case, this finite element analysis plays a important role. But definitely that can be possible, and many times it has to perform.
So there is one question from my side, sir. Because in every slide we have seen this you have shown the two figures, that is one is the surgical guide which you make, and in the another figure that surgical guide was there in the use in the surgery, correct? Okay. So all these surgical guides which you have shown, sir, right, with the white one, that made by normal FDM machine, sir, FDM 3D printing.
Sir, before that means nowadays easily biocompatible materials are available, and many people are using this biocompatible material. Technically, as per the CDSCO norms, you have to use biocompatible material, where because this surgical guide goes inside the body and it touches to the blood. So the norms are that you have to use a biocompatible material, but the cost of that biocompatible material are very high. So the approved procedure, in the approved procedure, you have to use a biocompatible material, but people's nowadays using common 3D printed material also. Why it is so? Because the time required to use this particular device into the surgery is around 10 to 15 minutes. It is just for cutting or drilling purposes. You are not permanently fixing this particular device into the surgery. So in that cases, after sterilization is the important process. So after sterilization, you can use your normal FDM printed material into the surgery. Even people are using this normal material also, but technically it is not good. You have to use biocompatible material for that.
Okay, but whatever the material which was there, it is even in your slides. So because it seems to be like our 3D printed objects.
Normal
like
material.
that.
Yeah.
Normal.
So sometimes, yeah. So people, those do not facility, they are using the normal material, and those having a biocompatible material and biocompatible facility. Even the another very important problem is that the cost of that biocompatible material is 30,000 rupees per kg. If patient is ready to afford that much of the price,
because that would be customized only,
yeah,
useful for that surgery only, so,
yeah, that particular surgery only. And if patient is ready to afford this much of price, because the cost of the surgery is definitely increased if they using a biocompatible material. If surgeon using a normal FDM material, then cost may be definitely low. Even in some cases, surgeon not using any type of custom surgical guide, they manually perform the surgery. In that case, the costs are definitely lower than that one. So it is depend particularly कि customer payment करने के लिए तैयार है क्या. We are ready to develop any type of surgical guide by using any material. Even we can develop a surgical guide by using metal 3D printer also, where the accuracy will be very high. क्योंकि strength material का high है, आप very thin surgical guide design कर सकते हो. तो thin अगर बनाते हो फिर भी high strength है, तो जहाँ पे side पे आपको लगाना है वहाँ पे accuracy अच्छा मिलेगा लगाने के लिए, है ना? If you are printing this surgical guide by using FDM printer or any printer, you must have to take a thickness of this particular surgical guide more than 2 to 3 mm. अगर आप मोटा सर्जिकल गाइड बनाते हो तो वहां पे लगाने को भी दिक्कत है ना?
Right.
बट आप प्लास्टिक यूज कर रहे हो तो आपको मोटा बनाना पड़ेगा, अदरवाइज इट विल फेल ड्यूरिंग द सर्जरी.
Okay. What is your answer if we are making this by some SLA printer, resin से जिसको? So where we will get the more strength in FDM you are suggesting or in SLA? Because in our last my one UG batch project, that is the prosthetic jaw surgery plannings, we have used the SLA 3D printer. So
इन जनरली सर जो डेंटिस्ट्री है, डेंटिस्ट्री में एसएलए टाइप के ही सर्जिकल गाइड्स यूज होते हैं, क्योंकि एसएलए के लिए बायोकम्पैटिबल मटेरियल मार्केट में बहुत अवेलेबल है. Even the accuracy of the SLA printer is very high as compared to the FDM printer.
FDM, right. You will not get the layer of kind of thing. It's a completely same polished surface. Without doing any polishing, you will get the polished part also on SLA. That we have seen. Right. As I am asking, because we are also having SLA printer and FDM printer, or there are many.
In the case of custom surgical guide, I have told you two important things. One is the base surface. अगर बेस सरफेस आपका उसका अच्छा है तो सर्जिकल गाइड प्रॉपरली वहीं पे लगेगा. अगर बेस सरफेस प्रॉपर नहीं लगेगा तो सर्जिकल गाइड आप कितना प्रॉपरली प्रिंट करते हो, एडिटिव मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से बनाते हो, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अदरवाइज क्या होगा कि वो वहां पे लगाने के लिए दिक्कत हो जाएगा.
But that would be accurate. It will always be accurate, sir, because we will take that file from their CT scan. And obviously that CT scan data, whatever it would be of the bone and all. So it will be a kind of a replica of the same. So
replica of the same, exactly. But जैसे आपने अभी बोला कि SLA का accuracy ज्यादा है FDM से, ठीक है? जो लेयर है वो दिखते नहीं है SLA में, जो FDM में दिखते हैं, ठीक है? तो उसके वजह से क्या होता है कि सरफेस फिनिश बहुत अच्छा मिलता है इन द केस ऑफ SLA कंपेयर्ड टू द FDM प्रिंटिंग. तो वो बेस सरफेस के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, बिकॉज बेस सरफेस इज द पोर्शन विच इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू फिक्स दिस पर्टिकुलर डिवाइस ऑन टू द लोकेशन, पर्टिकुलर लोकेशन और पर्टिकुलर बोन. तो उसका फिनिशिंग अच्छा रहना बहुत जरूरी है. ऊपर का नहीं रहा तो भी चलेगा. Otherwise you have to perform some post processing in the case of FDM printer. If you are using FDM printer, in that case you have to perform some post processing. जैसा उसका सरफेस फिनिशिंग करना है,
yes, obviously we have to do that because it will be it will inserted in the
so that much accuracy we can directly get by using the SLA printer.
SLA printer, right.
Without doing any post processing.
Because there may be so many participants, because all the participants are across the country, sir. So they might have been a professor somewhere or doing some research. So definitely this information is very much informative and helpful for those. Because many universities and many good colleges are having center of excellence in additive manufacturing. And and definitely, I really appreciate your research, sir. Meanwhile, your presentation, I also talked with Dr. Jaju, sir, and when discussing about your research.
So I want to add to this basically because I had a discussion earlier also when one of my PhD student, Mr. Venkatesh Naidu, who is also attending this FDP. He is doing the work on this development of a protocol for fabrication of custom implants for replacement of non-restorable single tooth. And that time I discussed with Sandeep for refinement of that topic also, basically. And I would tell you that I'm happy to tell you that we have received the grant from RGSTC for
Okay.
this work, and we shall be developing the complete setup basically to even means prepare the custom implants and then do the actual surgery also and see the accuracy part. Basically, that means the
Okay,
difference in
okay.
that accuracy. So basically, this presentation, when I asked Mr. Venkatesh Naidu that do you have any queries to be asked, because he is one of the participants, so he said that during the presentation you have already answered all the queries because your presentation
Okay.
was so means covered all the facets of those points which even collectors are also asked about means when we are using any surgical guide and doing actual surgery, what problems are we facing in that, and we will need your help in future also to complete this research work basically. And
Definitely.
yeah, and it was wonderful session basically. Means I have means basically I have listened to your presentation that time also, when one day one workshop was there in VNIT
Yeah,
Kutesar.
yes, in CAD/CAM
Yeah,
center.
it was also a very excellent presentation wherein even industry people was also there basically.
Yeah, yes.
And many doctors were part of that I have attended on Sunday. It is long back, I think so 1 year हो गया है मेरे को लगता है उसको. But
sir.
it was a wonderful presentation that time. So two more questions are there from one of the participant, Dr. R.S. Paude. What types of drills are used for bone drilling for the surgery? What will be the actual RPM of the drills and how it take care of damage due to increase in temperature while bone drilling? So you before you
See,
answer, because I would just tell one of the story of my another student, Mr. Rajesh Dahipate, who has completed his research work on thermal necrosis. Basically, this is related to thermal necrosis, wherein the cells get damaged due to the high temperature, which is created during the bone drilling, and the liquid is being poured continuously through the sideline tube, and that setup he has developed to reduce that temperature. And for means when he performed his surgeries, he was basically from Jalgaon, and he has done the lot of work with the animal bone, and he could prove some technology also. But I would ask you to add to this question your perspective.
so my answer is that basically you have asked me the which type of drills are useful in the surgery. That's no.
Yeah.
That
What
is the
types
question,
of
no?
drills are used for
So
the bone drilling
the
of the surgery, and what will be the actual RPM of the drills, and how it take care of the damage due to increase in temperature while bone drilling? 3 questions are there.
yeah, but actually different types of tools are useful in the surgery. So for dental purposes, different drills are used. When you performing a maxillofacial surgery, as per the requirement of the different diameters of the drills are useful. Then the particular length of the drills that are different as per the requirement. These are different. Even you might have seen the different burrs which are useful in the dental surgeries. Some taper burr, then ball type of burr, then cutting burr, finishing burr. So as per the requirement, surgeon can use this type of tools in the surgery. So I think the specialist person who is medical practitioner, he can give a better answer question.
Yeah. Thank you. And another question is from Praveen Jaronde. In case of angioplasty, in place of putting stent, can't we remove the blockage permanently?
This is again related to the direct medical question.
Yes.
So better
Yes.
to
Correct.
our role
correct.
being an
Obviously.
engineer, our role is to solve the problem only.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Correct.
our domain is that as per the requirement, designing of the surgical guide, then stent, finite element analysis.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
that particular stent like question, I think you have to contact with the cardiologist.
Correct.
What
Another
to
question
remove?
from Kamlesh
What to remove and
Singade.
why to remove, that is concerned with the doctors.
Correct.
And
Yeah, yeah.
what did they want? You are going to design
We
a
provide the
setup for
solution
perfect
for the
cutting.
problems provided by the
Yes.
medical people, because we means we are also thinking, but we are solving the problems given by the medical people, that what problems they are facing during many techniques.
Even the journey of this surgical guide has been started because of the one lady who having a mandibular tumor in the government dental college and surgery, government dental college and hospital. So surgeon performed the surgery without using custom surgical guide. They performed the surgery manually, and we obtained a huge gap between the implant and the bone. So we thought, why we cannot reduce this particular gap? The solution is that accurate cutting only. If you accurately cut this particular portion, then you can very easily and you can perform an actual fitting of this particular implant.
Correct. And it is permanent damage, na? It is permanent damage to the means part of the human body which is irrecoverable, and that's why planning before the surgery is very, very important, and that's why the surgical guides are
very important.
Very important role into that. Another question from Kamlesh.
Yes.
Yeah, continues.
Otherwise, to improve the accuracy of the surgery, there are different techniques are available, like navigation technique, robotic surgery. But as compared to the custom surgical guide, costing of that technology is very high.
Very high. Yes, very high.
So within the limit or within the limited cost, we can achieve the accuracy which is not 100% accurate with the navigation technique or robotic surgery, but it is 99% accurate as compared to the navigation and robotic surgery.
Correct. Another question by Mr. Kamlesh Singade: biocompatible material melting point, that is temperature. You want to ask, what is the melting temperature of biocompatible material?
At that time, it is not possible for me to give exact answer, but it is many times what happened when you using this type of polymers into the surgery. Many times when you using this type of polymers, maybe from resin material or FDM printer material, while cutting the particular bone, because of the heat and by using the high-speed stainless steel cutters or drills, this type of plastic-based models may cut and hamper the accuracy of the surgery. So in my PPT also, I have shown you one metallic sleeve. This type of sleeve or metallic portions are available in the market or developed, customized, and fit into the plastic-based devices to avoid this particular cutting. So in that particular case, you can increase the temperature, means at high temperature also they can sustain.
Yes. So thank you so much for this wonderful session and solving lot of queries. So over to Nirvan sir.
Even by hearing your presentation, sir, as you told ki this answer will be given by the medical practitioner, but as the words which you use, the different word, so it's really very, I am highly appreciating your study, because all these words are we are not even familiar, and a mechanical engineer can use and understand and learn all those things. This is also one kind of a lesson which we can take it from your presentation, sir. After
One
all,
last
doctor
question from Dr. Anil Sahu. But it's observed that dentists not using surgical guide for fixing implant, they directly do the drilling.
Yes, so this is the old practice, sir. Actually, this is the old practice where surgeons directly using the directly perform the surgery or fixation of the implant without using any custom surgical guide. But nowadays, this CAD/CAM technology and rapid prototyping technology that are available in many of the dental colleges. This CAD/CAM center and rapid prototyping technologies are available in many of the dental colleges, even in many private practitioners like Harish Rathi's hospital. They having this this type of technology, CAD/CAM technology. So people are nowadays using this technology to improve the accuracy of this particular surgery. Many
Right.
times you just not have to fix the implant directly or perpendicular to the bone. Many times it has
Yeah.
to require some inclination, that particular 15-degree inclination, 30-degree inclination, that is not exactly possible
Yeah,
manually. So in
It is
that
trial and
particular
error,
case,
so
you have
they
to
are
use
avoiding.
the customized surgical guide. Yeah.
100%. 100%.
I have
Yeah.
also shown you one particular case, that is the fixation of the C plate, C-type mini plate in the orthodontic treatment. In that particular fixation, in that particular case, surgeon has to perform the cut very accurately so that that C-tube mini plate exactly placed at the planned location. So in
Yes.
such cases, directly manual cutting and fixation of this particular pin is not possible. So there,
Yeah.
this custom guides plays very vital role.
100%. 100%. Yes. And we are doing the work with Dr. Harish Rathi sir only. Mr. Venkatesh Naidu, who is means doing this work. So we have taken the help of Dr. Harish Rathi sir, even for this RGSTC grant also. He is helping since last 15 years. Even if you remember, Ashutosh Bagre also, whose session is just
Yes.
after this.
Mhm.
Also when he was a MTech CAD/CAM student, so he I have given him that CAD means biomedical problem, and that time those students, either Kishore Khandare or Ashutosh or many similar kind of students, they have taken it as a challenge, and they have understood first of all the medical terminology, and then they have carried forward, and now they are doing very well in their field basically. So, and we are improving the work which these medical practitioners are doing, and we are improving their accuracy, and we are reducing the pain of the patient. So that's great, and it was a
Yes.
wonderful session.
And many questions related to medical side, Ashutosh,
Yeah.
Dr. Ashutosh can answer, because he is in the
Yes, yes.
Dahake Medical Institute of the Science here,
Right.
and very much
Yes.
involving in the research work related to the medical, in
Yeah,
all
yeah,
types
yeah.
of medical work
His
related
session
to
is there at
implant and
7:30.
tissue engineering. Yeah.
Correct. So thank you so much. Over to Nirvan sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an inspiring and comprehensive session. On the behalf of organizing committee and all the participants, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sandeep Dahake sir for delivering such a valuable and thought-provoking session. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Yeah, thank you.
Raju
Thank
sir, Khalatkar sir, and all
Thank
the
you, sir.
participants.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely, in short time we will meet personally.
Yes. And
Yes, sir.
another
Yes, sir.
session is
Definitely,
already
sir.
there. Another session by him is already there.
Yes, on
Yes.
Yeah.
yes,
So
on 7th December.
yeah. Thank you.